So, what's going on, you guys? I'm Patrick of CoasterFanatics, and of course, as many of you guys know, Kings Island announced their brand new Giga coaster opening in 2020. It's called Orion. For many years, a Giga coaster has been talked about opening at Kings Island, and now that it's finally happening, it got me thinking, which park in the United States will be the next one to open up a Giga coaster? And when I'm talking about a Giga coaster, I'm talking about a classic lift hill style Giga, not one that launches like Red Force. Currently, after Orion gets built, there's going to be 6 of them in the entire world. After Orion gets built, there's going to be 3 of them by B&M, 2 by Intamin, and 1 by Morgan. Morgan hasn't built a Giga coaster since 2000, and Intamin hasn't built one since 2010, not including Red Force. Currently, the only company building Gigas right now is B&M. We also have the RMC T-Rex track coming out pretty soon. They claim that track's capable of reaching 400 to 500 feet, so we'll have to see what happens with that. Honestly, these things are pretty hard to predict. Who knows what's going to be going on in the amusement park industry 30, 40, 50 years from now. But let's talk about 20 years. Will any of the major parks in the United States build a Giga within the next 20 years? Let's start off by talking about the only company that has built Gigas in the United States, Cedar Fair. Alright, so this is our 11 Cedar Fair parks right here. And right away, I'm going to check mark 5 of them. That's going to be Cedar Point, Kings Dominion, Canada's Wonderland, Carowinds, and Kings Island. We'll all have Giga coasters by 2020. Moving on from there, we have 6 parks left. And right away, I'm going to knock out Valley Fair and Michigan's Adventure. It's obvious, you guys, these parks are not going to get Giga coasters. And from there, we're going to have 4 parks left, which are Knott's Berry Farm, Worlds of Fun, California's Great America, and Dorney Park. Let's start off with Knott's Berry Farm. And this is probably one of the higher grossing incomes for Cedar Fair is Knott's Berry Farm. But unfortunately, they're landlocked, and honestly, they really don't need an investment like a Giga coaster. So I'm going to knock them out right now. And then let's take a look at California's Great America. This park has been talked about to get a hyper coaster in the near future. In fact, it's been talked about for about 5 years now. And I haven't been to this park yet, but looking at an overview of it, they're also pretty landlocked. So I'm going to say no for California's Great America as well. So that just leaves Worlds of Fun and Dorney Park. And these are middle-of-the-road parks for Cedar Fair. They're not high-grossing like Cedar Point, and they're not at the bottom of the barrel like Michigan's Adventure. One thing they do both have going for them, they both have hypercoasters. Clones, actually, with Mamba and Steel Force. Dorney Park does have a big problem, though, and that's competition. They have Hershey Park, they have Six Flags Great Adventure, and if you go even farther out, you got Kennywood, Dollywood, and even other Six Flags parks. The question is, will Cedar Fair want to make that kind of investment with all that competition? I'm going to say no, so I'm going to cross them out. So that just leaves Worlds of Fun left, and I think this is the most logical park to get a Giga coaster next in the Cedar Fair chain. I'm not sure if they'll make that kind of investment, but they don't have as much competition over there. I mean, they have Silver Dollar City, and they have Six Flags St. Louis. They have the land for it, and they already have the hyper. We already know Cedar Fair loves that hyper Giga combination. So if they were to build one, which it's still a big if, I think it would go to Worlds of Fun. Next we have Six Flags, and right away, you guys, I'm going to put a big red X over Six Flags. They are not going to build a Giga coaster. In fact, I can't remember the last time they built anything over 200 feet. So, yeah, not a chance for Six Flags, I don't think. From there, I'm going to look at our higher-end parks. And you got your Universal, Disney World, Disneyland. And you got Islands of Adventure, part of Universal. And you have their Epic Universe that they're opening in 2023. And these parks all have land, and they all have plenty of money to build the Giga coaster. For me, though, especially on the Disney side, I don't see Giga coasters coming to any of those parks. I mean, they haven't built anything like that ever, and I don't see them wanting that big Giga coaster lift hill in their skyline. And same thing goes with Universal. I don't think they want that kind of image in their skyline, you know. Maybe at Islands of Adventure or possibly even at Epic Universe way down the road, but I just don't see it. You know, all these higher end parks here, they are building low to the ground launch coasters right now. You know, like the Harry Potter coasters, the Tron roller coaster, and the new Jurassic Park roller coaster that's opening in, I believe, in 2021 or 22. You know, these are heavily themed launch coasters that are low to the ground. It's obvious that these parks are not going for height right now. So I'm going to give a big X on all of them. Even though they have the money and the land, I just don't see any of these parks building Giga coasters at this point. Next, we have SeaWorld Parks, and I think they are like the hottest company right now. They are like a modern-day Cedar Fair. They are not investing in animals right now. They are really gearing into rides and attractions. All 5 of these parks are getting roller coasters in 2020, which is pretty impressive. Now, if you look at SeaWorld Orlando, they have a decent possibility of getting a Giga. I mean, they did just build Mako, which is their hyper coaster. The question is, are they going to want to outdo their own coaster like that? Are they going to want to have a hyper Giga combination like Cedar Fair does at this park? And I'm not so sure about that. I don't think they'd want to outdo themselves, especially not so soon anyway, because Mako is fairly new. Unlike Universal and Disney, though, they would want something like that in their skyline. But for right now, I'm going to cross them out because I don't think that's happening anytime soon. Next, you have the other 2 SeaWorld parks, which are San Antonio and San Diego. And both of these parks are a little behind Orlando. They don't have the big roller coaster investments that Orlando has had in the past. Although San Diego is getting a B&M dive coaster in 2020, I just don't see either one of these parks getting a Giga coaster anytime soon. If anything, maybe a hyper at some point. So I'm going to cross them out. And then you have the Busch Gardens. And Busch Gardens Williamsburg has been rumored to get a Giga for quite a long time now. And instead of getting the Giga this year, they got the Intamin launch coaster called Pantheon for 2020. And I just don't think that they're going to get it anytime soon, you guys. I mean, if they were going to build a Giga, I think it would have probably been this year, but instead they went with Pantheon. And I always thought that a Giga at Busch Gardens here would be strange anyway, considering that King's Dominion is so close to this park and they already have a Giga. In fact, King's Dominion probably built their Giga because Busch Gardens had Apollo's Chariot, which was a hyper, you know. So I'm sure King's Dominion thought, why should we build a hyper? We need to outdo it. So that's why they built their Giga. And Busch Gardens Williamsburg, I don't see the incentive right now to build a Giga at that park. That's just my opinion, and I'm going to cross them out right now. That just leaves Busch Gardens Tampa, and I think out of all the SeaWorld parks, Busch Gardens Tampa is the one that could get a Giga if SeaWorld Parks decides to go that high, and I'm not sure if they will or not. Busch Gardens Tampa, in my opinion, is right up there with Cedar Point, Carowinds, Kings Island. Some of the great coaster collection parks that are out there in the United States today. And I think if they were to build a Giga in Florida, it would really put them on the map. The big question is, will SeaWorld Parks make that kind of investment? I'm not so sure. But just like I said with Worlds of Fun, I think Busch Gardens Tampa would be the logical choice for this company to install a Giga. Now you have Herschend Family Entertainment, and they have Wild Adventures, Dollywood, and Silver Dollar City. Right away, I'm going to take out Wild Adventures. They just aren't making investments at this park currently. I mean, perhaps that could change, but they have pretty stiff competition with Six Flags Over Georgia. In my opinion, one of the best Six Flags parks in the entire Six Flags chain. So yeah, I don't see them investing. Then you have Dollywood and Silver Dollar City, and I think these are really good spots for a potential Giga. The problem is, I think Herschend Family Entertainment's going to put hypers at these parks, and you know, there's also other options. You know, Dollywood has also talked about getting a max spinning coaster like Silver Dollar City has. And they even had a poll on it, and I believe they gave 3 options for coasters. One was a hyper, one was a max spinning coaster. Dollywood has already cleared a big open land space for something big coming up in the next few years. And my guess is that it's going to be a hyper, but there still is potential that they might go all out and go with a Giga. You know, Dollywood and Silver Dollar City has pushed the limits in the past with groundbreaking roller coasters, you know, interesting ones that you don't see anywhere else. And they just haven't gone with the super high coaster yet. And I think it could be coming, you know. We'll see. But I really think hypers are going here, but there's still potential for Gigas at both of these parks. Now, finally, that leaves us with the more family-owned parks. You know, the parks that aren't part of major chains. And starting off with Holiday World, they have excellent space for a Giga coaster. But for me, I don't see a Giga happening at this park. I don't think a Giga would look right at this park, if that makes any sense. I know you guys might give me some hate comments on that. But I don't know. This is a wood coaster park, and I don't see them making that kind of investment. Although they did spend like 25 or 22 million, something like that, on Thunderbird. If anything, maybe a hyper at this park, but I almost don't want to see a Giga at this park. And it's too close to Kings Island, who now just has their Giga anyway. So yeah, I'm going to cross them out. Next, you have Kentucky Kingdom, and that's just not going to happen. They are completely landlocked. They'd be lucky to get a hyper at this point. And yeah, I'm crossing them off right away. And then you got Hershey Park, who is building a B&M hyper for 2020, which was a pretty big head scratcher for me because they already have a hyper coaster in Sky Rush. And the fact that they're building this lower end hyper makes me believe that they probably will never get a Giga. You know, I think if you were going to spend the money that they're spending on this hyper when they already have a hyper, you could have spent a little more and went out with the Giga. So I'm going to take out Hershey Park. I was honestly a little disappointed that they decided to go with a hyper, to be honest. Finally, you have Kennywood, and they just spent a lot of money on Steel Curtain, but they are probably one of the most landlocked parks in the entire country. They cannot build a Giga. Luckily, they do have a hyper coaster that really works with the terrain with Phantom's Revenge. I don't think that, honestly, I don't think they need a Giga. This park is pretty well off, so I'm going to cross them out. Obviously, there is lots of other small family-owned parks all across the country. I mean, maybe they could come out of nowhere and build a Giga, but I highly doubt it. Now, with all that being said, in my opinion, there is 4 parks in the entire United States that could build a Giga within, let's say, the next 20 years. And that's going to be Worlds of Fun, Silver Dollar City, Dollywood, and Busch Gardens, Tampa. And this is strictly just my opinion, you guys. Just looking at different things between space and money and location. And there's a lot of factors that play into making a big investment like that. Kings Island definitely needed it. And I think all 4 of these parks could definitely use a Giga as well. Out of the 4 that I have listed here, I think that Busch Gardens Tampa is the most likely to get a Giga next. It's at a perfect location, being in Florida. There's nothing else like it in the area. They do have some space. Could be a little bit tight. You know, they already have an excellent roller coaster collection there. And I think a Giga would fit perfectly at this park. I hope to see it happen, especially after RMC Gwazi. This park would be stacked with a Giga. But anyways, you guys, thanks for watching. I want to hear what you have to say now in the comments. Is Orion the last Giga coaster to be built in the United States? If not, which park is going to build one? Did I get this video right, or do you think there's some other parks that could potentially build a Giga? I want to hear what you guys have to say. If you enjoyed the video, please smash that like button and do share the video with your friends. Those of you that are new around here can smash that CoasterFanatics icon to subscribe and stay updated on all things roller coaster. Thanks again for watching, you guys. I'm Patrick of CoasterFanatics, and I'll catch you all in the next video very, very soon.